Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. Coaches, the JAMODI podcast is powered by Ballogy. Manage and measure your players' skill development and increase accountability year-round utilizing the Ballogy app. Boost inter-squad competition with drills backed by the National High School Basketball Coaches Association, including a 40-shot Ballogy skills assessment. Please visit ballogy.com/teams for information on how you can provide this resource for your team. As coaches, most of us we're lifelong learners, and we have that growth mindset, so we're always trying to listen to new people. What quality that you see in great leaders that you try to emulate?
I think intentionality is a big quality in a leader because things matter. And I think if you're not intentional about really trying to teach things and really try and obviously take things away that you shouldn't have. And so whatever you allow, that's always the old saying. I'm sure you probably heard it. Whatever you allow, you encourage. That's a big thing for us in that, being intentional with the things that matter in your program is really, really important. I think any leader I've been around that I've been, and I've had some players that are really good at it, very intentional. They know this matters. And if somebody's not doing what is expected, it's a simple, that's not how we do things here. And things usually kind of fix themselves. And so players that understand those little things matter are great leaders for us. And then, there's a book by Jocko Willink. It's called Extreme Ownership. I don't know if you've read that book or not.
But, I know him because I drink his energy drinks.
The biggest stud on the planet.
Yeah. 4:35, he's up every morning working out. And he takes a picture of it and he posts the picture with the date and everything. So hardcore.
Yeah, I took some of the things, not the waking up at 4:35 to work out, but his book Extreme Ownership I thought was life-changing for me because it's so easy as coaches to say, oh, well, I don't have the players, or I don't have this, or we don't have enough guys that can shoot, or enough guys that can defend. And extreme ownership is, if you're the leader, everything is your fault. And it comes down on your shoulders. And so guys that are the best leaders, coaches, I think that are the best leaders, it's our job to be successful. It's our job to get the most out of our players. And that might be when they don't feel like it. That might be when you have a couple guys that can't shoot. How are you going to make that work? At the end of the day, it comes down on us. And so understanding that we have ownership of our program and how we do things, it was life-changing to me. Of just, I'm never going to make an excuse. We're always trying to be better and always trying to be the best that we can. And if we're not, then I need to do better at my job.
Man, I appreciate you sharing that, and I'm going to order that book because I always love when I get to hear. I don't think I even knew that he wrote one, but again, I love his energy drinks, and then but because it's clean. I mean, if you look on the back of it, there's only 4 ingredients.
Oh wow!
As opposed to like a C4 that I also love to drink that has a paragraph of words that I don't know. So anyway, that's just, he's not a sponsor of the podcast, but
okay. Well, you're going to work on that, I'm sure.
I would be honored if he would, and he just for free energy drink. Yeah. That's it. I'll But no, going back to that's a powerful moment when you really start to look at all of the good and bad that your team's doing on the floor as it's all your fault. Mm-hmm. Because you're right on the money. Like, what you allow is what you're encouraging, like you said. And so if my team is shooting deep threes, which we love that, I mean, I'm encouraging that by allowing them to continue to do it. That's a positive thing. But on the opposite, like I see lack of blockouts, but I don't address it. I just get mad about it. Well, I'm encouraging them not to block out further because I'm not addressing it within practice. I'm not addressing it within film. I'm just getting steamed about it. God, we're just not good at that. Like, instead of making that excuse, let's sit down as a staff, let's sit down as a team, and let's articulate how we can be better and how it will lead to winning more. But I think that's a powerful. Have you always felt that way? Because I mean, you're relatively young. I mean, Well, relative, we're about
this. From head coaching experience,
we're about the same age. We're about the same because I was looking when you played. But you've been a head coach at Bethel for 5 years, right? Yeah. This is your 5th year.
Yep.
Have you always felt that way of like, this is my fault? Or have you been the coach that, golly, if our players just didn't suck so much, we
so I would say, my dad and my mom were both coaches. And they set a really good example for me growing up. I never once heard them come back to the house and complain about this kid or that kid not being able to do X, Y, or Z. It was always like, how can I help this kid be better at this? And so I think they set a really good example for me. And I think that's kind of carried throughout everything I've done. I think that's kind of the growth mindset too, of being able to have an impact on everybody around you. And so I think I learned that at a really young age from my parents and their coaching styles, who were both, fairly successful coaches at a small school in Western Kansas. But I think I've carried that through, and I haven't had a ton of head coaching experience. I coached, my first job at a college was middle school basketball. And I realized pretty quickly that players are very important. We went, my very first year of coaching, went 0-15. And then my next year of coaching, we won the league. So I thought, hey, that's when I realized it was all about coaching, right? But I think, I did learn a lot of things, and I thought that was one of the best things that I ever did was coaching at the middle school level and saying, man, we got to fix these problems and that kind of stuff. And so then when I got this job here at Bethel, 15 years later, I think I had already kind of settled in that, like, I can complain about things or I can help fix things. And I'm not a guy that wants to complain. I want to find solutions. And so I think that's been a big emphasis for us in our program. And how many times as a coach, you sit on the sideline and you watch something happen and you say, oh man, so-and-so's doing this, or they're not going hard in this drill. And you're kind of talking about it as coaches. That is one of my biggest pet peeves. If my assistant comes and tells me that, I'll say, well, did you tell him? And, oh, nope, I didn't. Okay, well, then somebody needs to go tell him that he needs to go harder. And
what are you telling me for?
Yeah, exactly. So then we try to address that in the moment. And because I think that, what you let slide is going to end up sliding downhill pretty quickly. And so it might feel like it's only one time to you, but then all of a sudden it's one time, and then it's 5 times, and then it's 20 times, and then you lose a game because you miss a box out. And so, trying to understand that we control that stuff and we have our imprint on things. And, as coaches, you can't control everything. And we completely understand that, but we've got to make sure that we are the best at what we can control.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.